Once you complete the step-by-step process, screen record yourself, use Loom or OBS or some kind of screen recording software. Go through the system once, explain the thought process behind the sub-steps, right? Screen record. And then when an employee gets lost, they'll be able, instead of going to you, the key here is getting you out of your business. Seriously. And how you build a system is very simple. I developed this by myself. Basically, you create a Notion page and you have at the top what, when, why, who. What, the micro level of what this system is, right? So explain what this is. Like if it's, sending the client the weekly report, right? Put that in. When, how often you do it? Is it once a week, Mondays at 11:30 in the morning? Is it once every 2 weeks on Tuesdays? 2 weeks on Tuesdays? Is it once every month? Whatever. Why? The macro, how does this fit into the big picture? Why do we do this? Okay, we send our clients a weekly report, so communication is on point to relieve any anxiety our client might have, right? And to make sure we're on the same page with our client. Okay, yeah. And to make sure our client, it's easy to work with us. Who executes the system? Okay. What, when, why, who, that's at the top of the system. That's the top of the page. After that, you have the step-by-step process that gets into excruciating detail. Be very, very, very detailed. You're going to have steps. You're going to have sub-steps. You're going to be color-coded, hyperlinks, right? Pictures, mini videos, GIFs, anything that you need to add so your employees can execute the system without having to go and ask you questions.
Yeah.
Right. You can have template messages in there inside of toggles, template emails that you send. Have them in the step-by-step process. Below that, you have a video run-through. Once you complete the step-by-step process, screen record yourself, use Loom or OBS or some kind of screen recording software. Go through the system once, explain the thought process behind the sub-steps, right? Screen record. And then when an employee gets lost, they'll be able, instead of going to you, the key here is getting you out of your business. Right. So when they get lost in a step-by-step process, potentially they can now go and watch the video. And if you have a great step-by-step process and a very thorough video run through, you're not going to have employees coming to ask you questions. And then at the bottom, any resources. So anything that you hyperlinked in the step-by-step process, any external links, any third-party tools they need to use, any resources, you just go and you hyperlink them all under the resources little subsection. And that's how you create a standard. That's how you create an SOP, right? Yeah. So you just repeat that process. Every single department, you're going to have dozens and dozens of systems. And then overall, you might have a couple hundred. Big companies have thousands. I mean, if you look at a company like Amazon, Apple, they probably have hundreds of thousands of SOPs, yeah, if not millions of SOPs. But as a smaller agency, you might have a couple hundred.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of great things. And I'll tell you, like, I get asked a lot by people like, how our agency, like, because I'm on the beach a lot. It's just true. Like I take my kids to the beach most days. We actually haven't really gone the last few weeks because I got a newborn. But for the most part, like I spend an inordinate amount of beach time. And the real secret with that is everything you just described, which is having processes that are run because you get to do it your way. And the other thing too, as you mentioned, is that it makes employee turnover so much less painful. Like when my first agency, I didn't know any of this shit. And so I did it very like everything was makeshift and everybody came to me and all day long, people were just barraging me with what do I do next? What do I do next? And they didn't have like clear instructions and processes and this kind of thing. And so when somebody would leave, it was such a painful thing because you had invested so much time and energy into this employee. And eventually what would happen is once we had the systems, I always say it's if you gave me a choice now between owning great systems like a McDonald's, like could I own McDonald's systems or would I have a great burger chef who knows how to make the great burger? I'll take the systems 100 times out of 100. Not saying you can't have both, by the way. Ideally, if you do it right, your systems bring in great burger chefs who can run the systems, but you don't want your system to be dependent on it. And often, like when you got, like whatever tool you use for project management, somebody leaves, you can like literally just change the name and add them to it, and they can watch the training and tutorials and be up to speed in 5 minutes. And it's so much less painful to have those employee turnovers. And so there's something really magical.